A lot of UK couples come to us wanting a partner visa but don't know how to go about it. I'm Owen Harris from TranQuill Legal. We work with couples navigating the Australian partner visa landscape, including many UK-Australian relationships. In this video, I'm just going to go through some real pros and cons and limitations of applying for onshore versus offshore and the sort of questions you need to ask yourself before you decide which pathway you're going to take. The differences really just come down to timing, work rights, travel, and what your long-term strategy is. What onshore usually looks like is, for UK citizens, this is typically entering Australia on a visitor visa or a working holiday visa or some other temporary residency visa, and you're looking to stay. Typically this happens in the UK winter, when people go back to the UK and realise it was much nicer here in Australia. And the benefit of onshore, obviously, is that you get to lodge your partner visa in Australia, you get to stay here while you wait, and you get full access to Medicare and work rights. Although you should also be aware that Australia has a reciprocal healthcare arrangement with the UK. So for UK citizens, having access to Medicare in and of itself is really not a biggie, right? That's not the most important thing that you need to be worried about. Some of the disadvantages that on a bridging visa that you'll be given, the bridging visa A, it doesn't have travel rights, but that in itself is not a problem because you can apply for a bridging visa B, which does have travel rights. So it's just an administrative nuisance more than anything else. It's never really been a problem getting a bridging visa B. It's just, you've got to pay a little bit of money and it takes up to 6 weeks. You should always allow yourself 6 weeks to apply for a bridging visa B. Right? The bridging visa B is the same as an A, except it has travel rights. At the moment, those travel rights are being granted for 5 years. It used to be 3 months, but they've had a policy change recently, and I think it makes a lot more sense that the bridging visa is granted for 5 years. The other important thing to take into account is, from a risk perspective, if the partner visa is refused and you are onshore, then it makes it a lot easier to appeal. You have appeal rights and you have 28 days to appeal to the ART, the Administrative Review Tribunal, of any refusal of your visa. If you are applying offshore, then firstly you don't get a bridging visa while you wait, unless you happen to already hold some other substantive visa, like a tourist visa. So one of the things that we would always look at is, if you were to want to apply for a partner visa, we would always recommend that you apply for an ETA, the Electronic Travel Authority, or some tourist visa or a working holiday visa or some other visa, so that you hold a substantive visa at the time you apply for the partner visa offshore. That gives you the right to, when you do come onshore, to apply for a bridging visa A with the associated work rights and access to Medicare. You may have originally lodged offshore, but as long as you held that ETA or some other temporary visa, then you still set yourself up to be able to, upon entry into Australia, obtaining the bridging visa A. So from that perspective, it makes no difference whether you applied onshore or offshore. And that comes down to timing, when you need to be in Australia, for how long and for what purpose. Typical example of why you might do it that way around is if you're just not ready to relocate yet. You've got a contract that you need to finish, and so you want to get the partner visa process started, so you don't want to be waiting 12 months and then apply. Maybe you've got 6 months left on your contract, so you work for 6 months, apply for the partner visa, wait 6 months, and then make your journey to Australia on an ETA or working holiday visa or some other visa. And then when you get here, apply for the bridging visa A, and then when your other visa runs out, you just go on to the bridging visa and you have full work rights and access to Medicare. So it really comes down to when you need to be here and what your timeframes are. Obviously, if you apply offshore, you're going to be apart. So that's one issue. But if you're a UK citizen and you haven't had any trouble with the police, then there's a good chance that you'll be granted an Electronic Travel Authority instantaneously upon application to come to Australia, as long as you haven't been in Australia for more than 12 out of the last 18 months. If your offshore application is refused, you still have appeal rights, but you are outside Australia, and it just makes it a lot more complicated to appeal if you're not onshore to make it all happen. So the kind of questions you need to be asking yourself are, do you need to keep your UK job? If you have stable work contract, obviously you need to take that into account, because coming to Australia, it might take you a while to find work. Is it important that you need to travel in the next 12 to 24 months? If something goes wrong, do you want to appeal outside or inside Australia? How are you going to go about that? The usual test is, can I be away from my partner for the period of time that it might take me to sort all of this out? And so 9 times out of 10, everybody wants to be here in Australia where it's nice and warm, and stay here for the duration of the process. So government changes, where we've just had a budget here in Australia. They are making a very clear indication that they prefer onshore visa applicants to offshore visa applicants. We're not sure how that's going to translate into the partner visa space, but it certainly would seem to indicate a change in philosophy a little bit, a formal change in philosophy. They've always preferred onshore visa applicants, except in the partner visa space, where they used to prioritize offshore people on the basis that they weren't together at the time. That has changed. So we're not quite sure what the logic behind this latest change is, but we'll keep you posted. So it really depends on your circumstances, whether you're keen to get here in a hurry, or whether you're quite happy to finish what you're doing back home and then apply when you're good and ready. If you would like more specific information that's tailored to your requirements, feel free to go to our website, www.tranquil.com.au, and book an appointment with me either by Teams or face-to-face. Teams is better because obviously if you're overseas we can't do face-to-face. Plus you'll get a transcript of what we talked about, so that you can then decide whether you want to use me or my team to apply for the visa for you, or whether you've got enough information and enough courage to do it yourself. You should also consider subscribing so that you don't miss any of our future videos.